What is up, guys? So as you can see, this is my 2026 Yamaha R9, and it's low-key dirty as shit right now. Haven't cleaned this thing in a minute, but I just crossed about 5,000 miles on this thing. I just wanted to make a video talking about what I've noticed about the bike, what I like about it, things that you might not expect if you're looking to buy one. So yeah, I bought this thing brand new about 2 months ago, I think, and I traded in my 2025 ZX6R for this bike. And a lot of people don't understand exactly why I would trade in a 636 for an R9, so I'll talk a little bit about that too. But yeah, first things first, let's get a cold start, or a hot start. I guess it's 95 degrees. So yeah, 2026 Yamaha R9. If you're thinking about buying this bike or like debating between this and some other 600 class, then I'll just go ahead and let you know, first of all, this is the best all-around bike you can buy, in my opinion. So when I first drove this thing off the dealership lot, there were a couple of things that really stood out to me versus the 636 that I traded in. And first of all, this bike is a lot more comfortable, in my opinion. The foot pegs feel lower, the handlebars actually aren't very great, they're still pretty low, but it is a super sport, so you're not going to have the most comfortability. I mean, it's not terribly uncomfortable. Compared to other like 600, 750s, it actually feels really big. Like the front end of this bike is massive, the tank is pretty wide for a 3-cylinder. And then the other thing I noticed right when I drove this thing off the dealership lot is it was freaking slow. Like with all the factory settings, factory tune, everything, this bike is not anything impressive. So yeah, very first thing I did when I bought this bike is turn off pretty much all the electronics, make it a little bit less restricted. And obviously this bike does have the CP3, that's the same engine that's in the MT09, FZ09, FJ09, everything. Everyone says it's bulletproof. So far, I haven't had any issues with the engine itself. There have been two things that I noticed that are slightly weird about this bike. Not really reliability issues, more so factory mess ups. But this grip was loose from the factory, and I haven't cared enough to really mess with it. But the other thing, I don't know if this is something all R9s do, but I noticed it. So if you have an R9, let me know in the comments. But if you turn the handlebars all the way to the left, the brake lever hits the screen. I'm feeling it's not meant to be like that, but yeah, let me know. I'm not too sure about that. As far as mods I've done to kind of customize this bike, I haven't done a ton. Really, you can see it all here. Tail tidy, exhaust, windscreen, mirror delete, that's it. I'll link all this stuff in the description, but I got the Rizoma mirror delete block offs. They also have the integrated turn signal in there. I got the Puig, I think it's the Z Racer. I got both the Z and the R Racer, but I ended up keeping this one. And then I got the NRC tail tidy as well, which comes with these turn signals. Looks way better than the freaking whale tail that's there normally. And then last but definitely not least, I got the Dominator GP3, which I know is a really popular exhaust for this bike. Obviously it's loud as shit, as you probably just heard, but one thing I still need to do is this exhaust has 2 O2 sensor ports for whatever reason, and obviously this bike only has 1 O2 sensor, so I need to find a bolt to block that off. But quick sound check. Man, that's loud. Hurt my ears a little bit. But yeah, that's my first impressions and the mods I've done. I did all those pretty soon after I bought the bike. Obviously this bike in its stock form is nothing impressive. It's actually a little bit disappointing, but once you do a couple simple things, it starts to look a lot better, sound a lot better, and then once I get this thing tuned here in the next week or two, it's gonna feel a lot better too. Because if you look at the mapping for this bike, I'm sure you've heard people talk about it, second gear and pretty much every gear is extremely restricted. Alright, so I'm gonna hop back on the bike and talk about a few more things. Something I don't love is that every single time I hop on the bike, I have to turn off all the settings each time. It doesn't just like save my preset, which is a little bit frustrating, but it is what it is. So really the only thing I hear people say that's like negative about this bike is that it's overpriced compared to other bikes in its class, which is definitely true. I mean, MSRP on this thing is like 12,500, I believe. A lot of times dealers are going to try to mark that up to like 14 grand out the door, which I got pretty lucky and I ended up paying just about MSRP for mine, which I'm definitely grateful for. So yes, it is more expensive than bikes in its class, but it's for good reason. Like I can't even think of another bike in this price range that has the looks, the power, the sound, and all these features. Like this thing has freaking cruise control. Cruise control on a middleweight sport bike, I don't think there's any other bikes that have that. Maybe the KTM 990, but I mean, I feel like there's people that just want like a sport bike to go fast with no technology, no comfort. And if that's the case, this probably isn't the bike for you. I would just go with like any other 600 really. They don't have any features. R6, Gixxer, whatever it is. But if you're looking to daily your bike, then I wouldn't even say it's a competition. This bike is better. Like, obviously, like I said, cruise control. This thing has navigation on the screen. You can check the weather. You can answer phone calls and text messages. And then once this bike is tuned, I'm pretty sure it's faster than any 600. Like, even in its stock form right now, I pretty much keep up with anything. ZX6, R6. I mean, some of them might pull away a little bit top end, but I mean, this bike still goes faster top end than a brand new 636. I think the new 636s are limited to like, I think 150, 155. That's the most mine ever did. But yeah, since I'm talking about speed and top speed and whatnot, I touched on this a little bit before, but as I'm sure you've heard other people talk about, this bike is extremely freaking limited. Like, anybody that's ridden a tuned MT09, FZ09, they know that this thing, the wheel will not stay down no matter what you do. I'll give it full throttle real quick. Obviously this bike isn't slow, but I mean, relatively speaking to other bikes, it's not as crazy as it should be. So here in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be setting my ECU out to most likely two-wheel dyno works. I've considered V-Cycle. I've heard good things about both of them, but we'll see. I haven't exactly decided yet. But once I do that, this bike should not only top out higher, which I don't really care about that, but it'll have a lot more low-end power. I mean, the stock maps for this thing are essentially limited to like 50% throttle until you're just about to hit redline. So yeah, a tune is absolutely going to be necessary on this bike. Another kind of pet peeve I've found out is I'm someone that likes to do like, I don't want to say I'm a stunner, but I like doing stupid shit. So this bike's obviously great for wheelies, but another thing is stoppies. You cannot turn off front ABS on this thing without, I think, like a $300 ABS delete module. You can turn off the rear, but for the front, you're kind of shit out of luck. But I mean, at this one, I think I've really said all the negative things I could possibly say about this bike. When it comes down to it, I went and spent almost 13 grand on this bike because it's pretty awesome. In my opinion, triples are a lot more fun than four cylinders. So like your regular ZX6R, S1K, whatever it might be. Regardless of speed, just the low end power these have. Yeah, when it comes down to it, this bike is my favorite bike I've ever owned, which is saying something, because I've had, I think, 35 different bikes at this point. It's becoming a little bit of an issue, but another question I've got asked by a lot of people is, should they buy this as their first bike? I mean, I'm never going to be somebody that recommends getting a 600 or 1000 or anything bigger than like a 400 or 500 as a first bike, but I'll say this, if you're planning on getting something bigger, it should be a bike like this rather than like an older 600 or an older 1000. Because like I said, when I bought this thing brand new from the factory, it was not very fast. Like, if you have all the restrictions and in the lowest power mode, this thing, you can handle it as a new rider. The only thing would be the weight. Obviously, it is still a 430 pound bike versus like 390 pounds for a 400. And I'll probably make another video going more in depth on that, like the pros and cons of starting on a bike like this rather than something smaller, cheaper, less likely to get you killed or in trouble. But yeah, with that being said, if you have the money and you have like a little bit of common sense, you could probably be fine starting it on this bike. So yeah, with all that being said, I'm sure there's something I missed that I wanted to touch on during this video, but if you have any questions about this bike or my opinions or my experience with it, just let me know in the comments. I'll answer that. I'm sure I'll make some more videos talking about this. Yeah, let me know what you'd like to see.